China just provided Iran a targeting package that makes every American defense arrangement in the Middle East visible. Satellite pictures, precise coordinates, real-time intelligence released openly for the world to observe. Pause. Examine these pictures carefully. This isn't intelligence breach. This is deliberate strategic revelation. Global Times, Chinese state media, released January 30th. Satellite imagery displaying precise positions of U.S. THAAD and Patriot arrangements across Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. Mizar Vision Corporation analyzed 14 KC-135 refueling aircraft at Al Udeid, recognized new Patriot deployment, validated THAAD battery positions, all released publicly. Consider what that signifies. China photographed American defense arrangements from space, analyzed precise configurations, released findings through state media, informed Iran and the world exactly where America's 7th THAAD batteries are positioned. Only 7 THAAD batteries exist internationally. CNN recorded America already consumed through 25% of THAAD interceptors protecting Israel during June's 12-day war. Inventory diminished, manufacturing slow. Each interceptor costs $12.7 million and demands years to manufacture. And China just informed Iran exactly where those precious remaining arrangements sit, waiting to be eliminated. But wait, here's the component that makes this disastrous, rather than merely hazardous. THAAD arrangements cannot conceal. They demand massive ANTPY-2 radars visible from space. They require launcher vehicles, tactical operation facilities, power generators. You cannot camouflage framework that magnitude. Once photographed, positions are permanent intelligence possessions. So, Iranian missile strategists now possess Chinese satellite intelligence displaying Al Udeid air installation. Qatar Patriot battery positioned January 25th. 14 launchers validated. Ali Al Salem air installation Kuwait Patriot arrangement with AN/MPQ-65 radar vehicles, Muwafaq Salti air installation, Jordan F-15E fighter concentration plus air defense, multiple THAAD batteries scattered across territory securing key installations, every arrangement, every position, every configuration recorded and released. Now imagine Iranian hypersonic missiles targeting those precise coordinates, not searching blindly, not hoping to locate American defenses, understanding precisely where arrangements sit before assaults commence. Middle East Forum recorded that eliminating THAAD means no defense exists against Iranian ballistic missiles. Patriot arrangements handle lower altitude dangers. THAAD intercepts outside atmosphere. Remove THAAD and Iranian missiles reach objectives unchallenged. China comprehends this perfectly. That's why they released positions instead of maintaining intelligence classified. Publishing informs Iran. Here are your priority objectives. Eliminate these first, and American forces cannot protect themselves. This is China's revenge for Afghanistan, for Soviet Union breakdown, for decades of American interference in Asian affairs. They're employing Iran as proxy weapon against American military superiority, exactly like America employed Afghanistan against Soviet forces. And the scheduling reveals strategic coordination. Pictures released January 30th. Same week, Netanyahu travels to Washington requesting Trump-authorized strikes. Same week, American forces position for potential Iran operations. Same week, diplomatic discussions break down. China's communication, strike Iran and observe your defense arrangements, get eliminated employing intelligence we just supplied to Iranian missile forces. Global Times specifically observed Iranian missile and drone stockpiles could pose serious challenges to U.S. installations if launched in large quantities. Translation: Iran possesses sufficient missiles to overwhelm American defenses once they understand precise targeting coordinates. The article continued, if the U.S. is determined to employ force against Iran, it would take preventive measures by reinforcing defenses at key positions. For example, by positioning more THAAD arrangements. Except America cannot position more THAAD arrangements. Only 7 exist. One's in South Korea protecting against North Korea. One's in Israel after June War. Others scattered across Middle East. No reserves accessible, no spare batteries to reinforce threatened positions, and CNN validated it takes 3 to 8 years to replenish THAAD interceptor stocks at current manufacturing rates, meaning losses cannot be replaced quickly. Once Iranian missiles eliminate arrangements employing Chinese satellite intelligence, those capabilities vanish for years or decades. Net News documented 1 week earlier that THAAD positioning is particularly strong indication, America's organizing military intervention. But China's satellite release reverses that indication. Now THAAD positioning becomes burden rather than deterrent, visible objectives instead of protective shields. This represents intelligence combat at strategic threshold. China didn't breach American arrangements, didn't steal classified records, simply photographed from space what America positioned openly, then released findings through state media where Iranian intelligence cannot overlook them. Perfect plausible deniability. China asserts scientific satellite imagery examination. Iran gains targeting intelligence worth billions in reconnaissance investment. America observes helplessly as adversaries publicized positions of arrangements designed to remain secure, and the released pictures display more than static positions. They expose configurations, equipment categories, positioning patterns, everything Iranian strategists require to model assaults, calculate missile requirements, optimize targeting approaches. The January 30th release date means this intelligence is operational now. Iranian missile forces have had days to integrate satellite information into targeting arrangements to organize salvos specifically designed to overwhelm defenses at released coordinates. When American strikes commence, if they commence, Iranian counterstrikes will objective THAAD and Patriot arrangements first employing Chinese satellite intelligence. Eliminate defensive capabilities before attacking installations, vessels, personnel, and America cannot prevent it, cannot conceal arrangements already photographed, cannot relocate batteries without abandoning defensive coverage, cannot replace losses once sustained. China just provided Iran the keys to dismantling American Middle Eastern defense framework. Released openly, legally defensible, strategically devastating. Welcome to combat, where satellites replace operatives and state media serves intelligence agencies better than covert networks ever could. The satellite pictures expose technical details Iranian weapons designers require to exploit American defensive vulnerabilities nobody examines publicly. Mizar Vision examination recognized specific equipment configurations at Al Udeid. Patriot launchers positioned near MPQ-65 radar vehicles with air defense shelters arranged in integrated network. That configuration means targeting radar eliminates entire arrangement's eyes, blind the radar, render launchers useless. Iranian hypersonic missiles don't require to hit every launcher, just eliminate the radar. The $12.7 million interceptors become expensive paperweights without targeting information from radar arrangements guiding them. And Chinese satellite imagery displays exactly where radars sit. Distinct signatures cannot be concealed or disguised. Permanent structural features visible from orbit. Now layer in what Global Times exposed about American defensive calculations. Article observed U.S. already stretched thin with only 7 THAAD batteries internationally. June war consumed quarter of total interceptor inventory protecting Israel. Here's the disastrous mathematics. Each THAAD battery contains 48 interceptors maximum. 7 batteries means 336 total interceptors, theoretically accessible. June war employed roughly 150 protecting Israel. Remaining inventory approximately 186 interceptors across all 7 batteries. Iran possesses thousands of ballistic missiles. If they launch saturated salvos against American installations, say 500 missiles in first wave, THAAD batteries cannot possibly intercept everything. Even if every interceptor accomplishes perfect success rates, and Iranian strategists comprehend this because Chinese satellite intelligence exposes defensive deployments, they can calculate interceptor capacity per battery, model saturation, assault requirements, determine exactly how many missiles overwhelm specific installation defenses. The January 25th imagery displaying 14 KC-135 tankers at Al Udeid adds another dimension. Tankers enable long-range bomber operations. Their attendance signals American strike preparation. But tankers are also massive, slow, vulnerable objectives. Eliminate tankers and American bombers cannot refuel for extended operations over Iran. Mission distance drops dramatically. Strategic depth evaporates. Single missile salvo against Al Udeid's tanker parking zone cripples American power projection capabilities across entire territory. Chinese satellites photographed those tankers, counted them, released precise quantities and positions. Iranian missile targeters now understand precisely where 14 vulnerable aircraft sit clustered together. Middle East Forum recorded USS Abraham Lincoln carrier group functioning nearby, but carriers confront similar exposure. Chinese satellites monitor carrier positions, distribute information with Iranian military, supply targeting updates, enabling anti-ship missile strikes against moving vessels. The satellite intelligence generates what military strategists call reconnaissance strike complex sensors, directly supporting weapon arrangements through real-time targeting information. American forces spent decades creating this capability. Now, China supplies it to Iran for free through commercial satellite imagery examination, and there's no response. America cannot shoot down Chinese commercial satellites without activating international emergency, cannot jam satellite sensors from ground stations, cannot conceal military deployments from orbital observation platforms passing overhead dozens of times daily. So Iranian forces obtain continuous intelligence updates, American defensive positions, force concentrations, equipment movements, all recorded and analyzed by Chinese arrangements, then distributed through state media channels. Iranian military monitors continuously. The strategic implications extend beyond immediate targeting benefits. China's willingness to release this intelligence signals they've committed to Iranian achievement. They're not remaining neutral. They're actively supporting Iranian military operations against American forces through intelligence provision. That commitment transforms Iranian strategic calculations fundamentally. Tehran understands Chinese reconnaissance satellites supply capabilities Iran cannot create independently: high-resolution imaging, multispectral examination, synthetic aperture radar, penetrating weather and darkness. Iranian military strategists previously functioned with incomplete intelligence about American deployments. Now they possess satellite-quality imagery updated continuously, displaying precise configurations. The benefit shift is extraordinary, and Chinese release through Global Times means this intelligence distribution is permanent policy rather than temporary partnership. State media doesn't release strategically sensitive examination without government consent. This represents deliberate Chinese choice to assist Iranian military preparation against American objectives. For American forces, the exposure generates impossible predicament. Repositioning defensive arrangements to new positions supplies temporary security until Chinese satellites photograph new positions and update Iranian targeters. So, relocation presents days or weeks of security maximum before exposure resumes. Maintaining arrangements in released positions means functioning under constant targeting danger from adversary possessing precise coordinates. Every American service member at Al Udeid understands Iranian missiles could objective their precise position employing Chinese satellite intelligence. That understanding affects morale, decision-making, operational effectiveness. Soldiers function differently when they understand adversaries possess targeting information on their positions. Commanders hesitate to concentrate forces. Logistics become complicated when movement patterns might be monitored from orbit. The psychological influence matches tactical disadvantage. American forces designed to project overwhelming dominance now function understanding adversaries possess intelligence benefits, neutralizing American technological edge. And Global Times article specifically mentioned Iran drawing lessons from conflict last June about American defensive capabilities. Translation: Iranian strategists studied June war, recognized weaknesses, created counters, and now possessed Chinese satellite intelligence, enabling precision exploitation of those vulnerabilities. The defensive network America assembled billions and THAAD batteries, Patriot arrangements, integrated sensors becomes targeting array for Iranian missiles rather than protective shield. Every arrangement position released by Chinese satellites becomes potential elimination zone when Iranian counterstrikes commence. Military Watch magazine would observe this represents asymmetric intelligence combat at its most effective. China supplies capabilities Iran cannot create independently. Iran employs those capabilities against American forces. China cannot participate directly. Both nations accomplish strategic goals, weakening American regional superiority without direct confrontation, risking intensification. And America cannot effectively react, cannot suppress Chinese satellite intelligence, cannot prevent release through state media, cannot relocate arrangements without sacrificing defensive coverage, generating gaps. Iranian missiles exploit checkmate through satellite imagery, strategic overcome delivered via commercial Earth observation arrangements and state media examination. The future of great power competition unveiled through pixels and released coordinates. Wednesday's Netanyahu-Trump conference now occurs with both administrators understanding Chinese satellites have exposed every American defensive position to Iranian targeting. Before satellite release, American military advisors briefed Trump that THAAD and Patriot arrangements supply robust security against Iranian response, enabling strikes with acceptable danger. After release, same advisors must brief Trump that when Iranian forces possess Chinese satellite intelligence, displaying precise defensive positions, enabling precision targeting of arrangements securing American forces, that briefing transforms presidential authorization calculus completely. Because authorizing strikes when defenses are exposed is gambling with American lives against adversary possessing targeting benefit previously unimaginable. And Netanyahu arrives Wednesday, requesting Trump order those strikes regardless of Chinese intelligence provision to Iran. Israeli domestic politics, corruption proceedings, coalition fragility, public influence demand Netanyahu exhibits strength through military intervention, even if dangers are disastrous. So Netanyahu advocates for strikes. Chinese satellites exposed American defenses. Iranian missiles await targeting information from released coordinates. And Trump must determine whether political influence outweighs military vulnerability, his own advisors acknowledge. The Global Times release scheduling implies China calculated this influence point perfectly. Release satellite intelligence just before Netanyahu visit compelled Trump to brief Israeli administrator on defensive exposure. Observe as political requests crash against military circumstances, generating paralysis. And that paralysis serves Chinese concerns precisely. Delayed American military intervention supplies Iran additional duration to reinforce defenses, reconstitute stockpiles, integrate Chinese weapon arrangements. Every week Trump hesitates. Iranian capabilities improve employing Chinese assistance. But immediate intervention means functioning with exposed defenses against adversary possessing targeting intelligence. Unacceptable casualties, strategic breakdown, political disaster, surpassing benefits from limited strikes on Iranian nuclear installations, China generated no-win situation through satellite release. Either Trump acknowledges military intervention with disastrous danger or delays indefinitely while Iranian capabilities grow stronger. Both results advance Chinese strategic concerns. For Iran, Chinese satellite intelligence represents a strategic transformation equivalent to nuclear weapons without actual nuclear creation. Having precise targeting information on American defensive arrangements supplies deterrent outcomes similar to nuclear stockpile threaten disastrous American casualties if strikes proceed. Iranian commanders can now credibly threaten to eliminate THAAD batteries employing released satellite coordinates. Losing THAAD means losing ballistic missile defense capability, securing regional forces and Israeli territory. Unacceptable loss compelling American restraint, and the intelligence distribution establishes precedent for future Chinese assistance. Beijing exhibits willingness to supply satellite reconnaissance directly supporting Iranian military operations. That commitment signals long-term alliance rather than temporary partnership. Other adversaries observe. North Korea gains confidence, China will assist them. Similarly, Russia's partnership with China reinforces understanding Beijing will actively assist proxy conflicts against American concerns. Venezuela, Cuba, Syria all acknowledge Chinese satellite intelligence might assist their operations if conflicts arise. American military superiority relied partly on information dominance, understanding enemy positions while concealing friendly deployments. Chinese satellites releasing American positions inverts that benefit across potential theaters internationally. Suddenly, American forces worldwide must assume Chinese satellites monitor their positions continuously. Released coordinates might materialize through state media before any conflict commences. Defensive preparation must account for adversaries possessing targeting information previously unavailable. This represents paradigm transformation in military intelligence relations. Satellite imagery was supposed to supply American benefits through superior space-based reconnaissance. Now adversary satellites monitor American positions and release findings through state media, generating targeting benefits for hostile forces. The seventh THAAD batteries become 7 burden points scattered across globe. Expensive, vulnerable, exposed through satellite imagery objectives rather than shields. Each battery loss means capability distance lasting years, given manufacturing limitations. CNN recorded THAAD replenishment demands 3 to 8 years. Lose batteries now and defensive coverage disappears until 2029 to 2034. Entire decade of vulnerability generated through single satellite release operation. Markets will react once examination spreads. Defense contractors supplying missile defense arrangements observe demand surge as allies acknowledge exposure danger. Lockheed Martin already obtained $2 billion contract expansion for manufacturing. That's just beginning. As regional powers seek defensive capabilities, securing against Chinese satellite-enabled targeting, but American taxpayers fund that arms race. American soldiers risk their lives functioning arrangements. Adversaries can objective employing released coordinates. American strategic stance weakens as China exhibits willingness to actively assist hostile forces through intelligence provision. The January 30th Global Times release will be recalled as instance American military information superiority terminated and satellite reconnaissance became democratized through commercial imaging and state media release. China didn't require cyber assaults or espionage networks, just satellites, analysts, and willingness to release findings through channels Iranian military monitors continuously. 7 terms transformed Middle Eastern military balance. Satellite pictures expose U.S. military deployments. Everything else follows from Chinese choice to release instead of concealing. Maximum strategic influence through minimal direct involvement. Perfect proxy combat, where reconnaissance satellites replace covert operations and state media serves targeting information to allies confronting American forces. Welcome to combat, where space-based photography released through newspapers defeats billion-dollar defensive arrangements before combat even commences. Iran obtained targeting package. American defense is exposed. Netanyahu requests intervention. Trump confronts impossible selection, and Chinese satellites photograph it all from orbit, ready to release next intelligence updates, serving Iranian military preparation whenever Beijing determines revelation advances their strategic concerns. This is how superpowers perish, not through direct confrontation, through satellite imagery and state media release exposing their vulnerabilities for adversaries to exploit. One article, 7 THAAD batteries, infinite strategic ramifications. I'm Dave from 3 Daily News.